Greetings, royal family. I am Joy. I am a life coach and a mother of two boys. And I have all my description about myself in the bottom below, but I want to get into today's message because I felt God actually showed me some things, y'all. And the reason why sometimes I don't get on here every single day with the video is because I myself am on a journey. I'll call it an Esther journey, where God has me in a season where He is preparing me as a woman of value, integrity, and honor, as a queen. And during that process, He's showing me things, He's teaching me during that process. So, as I'm learning, I'm sharing with you guys. So you may not see me on here every day presenting a message, but just know that God is whatever He's working on with me and pruning within me and grooming within me. I will then take that information and relay it back to you guys. Now, this information is not for everybody, but who it's for, to him or her, she shall receive it. So let's get into today's message because something happened to me that God revealed to me when it comes to what we as women, where we go wrong with men. So today's topic is going to be where we go wrong with men as women. So I just got finished watching a little while ago, earlier today, a video by R.C. Blake's. Awesome man of God, y'all. Awesome. If you have not subscribed to him, please do. When I tell you he is a blessing, a blessing. He is a blessing. I've only started listening to him maybe not even a month, and I've already been so blessed and enriched by his messages. But the message that he came forth with that I watched today was on the difference between a healthy man, which we can call a whole man, a broken man, and a toxic man. And so he went into the description and characteristics and traits of each type of man. And what he pointed out that I found very interesting was when he spoke about the broken man. And while he went into his characteristics and his traits and the things that the descriptions of him so that you would recognize him, we would recognize him. What he said, though, is that a broken man can have the potential to change. To be honest, all people, men or women, have the potential to change. But he specifically pointed it out in the broken man. He said the broken man has the potential to change. And a lot of times when we as women are dealing with a broken man, he said we will see glimpses of a good man within them underneath all of the dysfunction. And so when he said that, y'all, it resonated with me because in my life experiences in dealing with a variety of men, talking to them, interacting with them, there will be times where I will see potential in a man. I will see the king in him. I will see the call that God has on his life. And I'm realizing that whether that call, whether that potential is actually manifested, a lot of times will depend on how we as women interact with that man and whether we will allow God to work in and through us to be the catalyst and the influence that man needs for God to work in that man. Because remember, we as women cannot change anybody. It has to be the man's willingness and God working in that man to change him and bring him to the place where he needs to be as a man. I'm realizing where we go wrong and how we may even disqualify us as his potential queen by the actions and the things that we do that hinder that manifestation of him walking in who he truly is as a king. And it's kind of sobering and reflecting to think about that you possibly as a woman could be hindering the reason why your husband is not being manifested in your life, the reason why your husband is not coming forth. A lot of us will say that there are no good men. There aren't many men who are my husband materials, but we don't take the time to really reflect and consider our part in why these men are not walking in their call as husbands. Because ladies, believe it or not, we play an integral role of whether that man will be able to step up into the place of kingship, which will also be manifested as a great husband. And when we think about why there's so many broken men, y'all, there is an attack on men as a whole. The enemy is dead set, y'all, on trying to prevent the man from walking in his true calling as king. As king, as priest, and as prophet. That is the areas that the enemy will constantly be seeking to attack him in. And the sad part is, most often, we are being used by the enemy, sometimes knowingly and sometimes unknowingly, to keep that man in a state of stagnancy, in a state of mediocrity. And we have to realize that part about ourselves. And God is working in me and showing me that I play a part in whether a man is able to walk in his full potential as a king. And I kind of want to share this information with you guys so that we all can open our eyes to really what's going on, and so that we can understand our role better in the lives of the men that we come into contact with on a daily basis. Y'all, women were created for a specific purpose. We were created to operate in men's lives for us in a specific way. And we are not fulfilling that way. And therefore, the enemy is using that to keep men down here when they should be up here. And then we're complaining because we have no viable and quality men to choose from. But we have to take a look at ourselves and see, how are we contributing to the issue, to the concern. So let's get into it. We need to understand why there are many broken men. Just as there are broken women, there are a lot of broken men. There are a lot of men who have not matured into the place where they need to be good fathers, to be good husbands, to be good leaders. And we have to understand some of the facets that are going on and what's causing that. Some of that is going to be the destruction of culture, the dysfunction and the detriment of culture and its impact on boys and girls as they grow up in the world. Our culture is constantly feeding us subliminal messages through music, through media, through all different types of mediums, and it's subconsciously teaching us what it means to be a man and what it means to be a woman. And that teaching is detrimental. It's detrimental. It's detrimental to our overall growth as men and women. It will continuously keep us hindered as kings and queens, because that's the object of the enemy, to keep us in a state of beneath our potential. So you have the cultures, then you have the broken families. So the families don't have the good father and the good mother who work as a team in helping to build the self-esteem, the confidence, the identity of our boys and girls as they grow up. So men, since we're dealing specifically with men don't have the good fathers to teach them what it truly means to be a man. They're learning it from their culture. They're learning it from the media. They're learning it from the music. And because of the absentee of the father, the good father, because they may have a father in their life, but their father may not be operating in who he is as a man. So when the boy, as he's growing up, does not have that, all those things take into account of whether he will truly understand who he is as a man and be able to walk in his true identity as manhood. Because they're teaching their definition of manhood through misogyny and toxic traits, but they're not teaching what a healthy man is. And so you have that. You have the dysfunction of the culture. You have the poor life choices. So because the young boy grows up with a dysfunctional culture, the media is teaching him toxicity and misogyny. He's learning how to be a man from the barbershops and all the things that they speak about in those places. He doesn't have the father there to solidify his identity, his confidence as a man, the standard that he needs to have as a man. And then he starts making poor life choices. And all these things take into account, because those poor life choices could say he could have a good heart, but he gets with the wrong type of woman who breaks his heart. And then now he has to deal with all that trauma. So he has all these things working against him into helping him walk in his true calling as a man. And now he grows up into being half ready, half mature, even if at that. He has an incorrect view of manhood. He has the wrong view of masculinity. He's broken. He's not a whole man. So he goes into life, into adulthood, not as a whole man. And so you have this dichotomy, you have this issue that men are facing, because there is a constant bombardment, a constant attack against them to keep them from walking in their true purpose. Now here's the catcher. Here's where we come along. Here's where our role comes in. If we understood our role, we would understand and know that woman was created by the Creator to support the man, the whole man, with his vision, in his vision and his purpose, and also helping him, supporting him into maintaining, achieving, and walking in a state of excellence. That is our design as a woman. That is our design as a woman. However, how we achieve that in him is through holding him accountable as a man. So our standard, the standard of excellence that he needs to attain, he needs to walk in. It is our responsibility as the woman who was created to support him. We have to support him in upholding that standard of excellence. And how we do that is through our standard. It's through the maintenance of our standard and the upholding of our standard and values as a virtuous woman. And that's where we're going wrong. Because we are not upholding our standard as a virtuous woman. We are walking in a standard of less than, in a standard of mediocrity, and therefore the man doesn't have any type of standard of excellence to achieve, to grow towards. R.C. Blake said a lot of times what a healthy man needs, a whole man needs, is a lot of times good parenting, either good parenting or a divine intervention in their life. So say some sort of accident that they maybe got into, and so God really spoke to them through that, and it caused them to say, you know what, I need to change. But how many of our men are going through stuff like that? How many of our men have good parenting and have been raised with a virtuous upbringing? How many of our men had a divine intervention where they almost lost their life, or some catastrophic event occurred that jolted them to the point where they need to see, like, oh my gosh, I need to change my life? But there can be a divine intervention. Guess who it can be through? Through us. We can be that divine intervention. Because at the end of the day, ladies, queens, at the end of the day, what really does a man strive in all that he strives for? For the affections of a woman. Why does he strive to be great or successful or have money or attain status or possess material wealth? It's all to attract and to gain the validation, the approval, the presence of a woman, of us. So a lot of the influence resides within us. And my question to you is, what type of influence are you being in that man's life that is going to challenge him to step up as the man that he needs to be? Because if you don't require him in your standard to step up, he's not going to be the husband that you need. He's not going to fully walk in who he is as a man so he can be the husband that you need him to be. So we have to understand our role as women. We have to. We have to. We have to. Let me give you an example. You come across a man and you see the potential in him, but you know that there's some work that needs to be done. There's work and restoration and healing and a building up in him that needs to be done so he can step into who he is as king and who he is as a husband. However, instead of you allowing God the time that he needs to build that man up and being the woman that he needs to hold him accountable to the work that God is trying to do in his life, you take it upon yourself and you say, you know what? I like him. I'm feeling this type of way about him. And so therefore, I'm going to rush the process and maybe become physical and intimate with him before it's time. So basically what you do is you either hinder or completely disconnect the husband potential process that God is trying to do in him because of your hormones, because you horny, because you have needs. And instead of you saying, hold on, I do feel some type of way, but I need to let God work in him first. So Father, what do you need me to do? How do you need me to participate with you so that we can translate this man into the king that he needs to be? What do you need me to do, Father God? We say, well, I'm feeling some type of way, so I want to make out with him and I want to have sex and I want to give him all the things that he hasn't earned yet because he's not where he needs to be as a man. I want to give all these things to him. The only thing that you are creating is a spoiled man. A spoiled man. You will never get a husband from spoiling and catering and giving a man something that he has not yet earned. And for my parents out there, we should already know this. Because when we spoil our kids, guess what they grow up to be? Spoiled rotten. They don't know how to function in life as healthy adults. They don't know how to be responsible. They don't know how to be mature because we as parents have not done the job that we should have done by teaching them and allowing God to work in us to teach them properly so that they could be fully functional adults. So we're basically contributing to men remaining in a state of mediocrity and less than. Ask yourself as a woman, is what you're doing productive in that man's life into helping him become the husband that you need him to be? Is it? Ask yourself that question. Is it? So when God showed me this, I said, okay, Lord, because you got to think there are a lot of broken men out here. Think about how many whole men you know. How many complete whole men that you know? I don't know many. I don't know many. However, there could be more whole and complete men if we would let God do the work in us and through us. But we're not letting God do the work. We're actually allowing the enemy to work through us. And therefore, guess what it's doing? We're cursing our own selves. We're allowing the enemy to work on us through our lusts and our immature pleasures. And in turn, we're ruining our own future. Ladies, I know we have needs. I know we've been waiting and we want a man and we want a husband and we praying and we praying. But we got to let God do the work in him so that he can be the man that he needs to be, because a lot of them come from broken places. Just think about it. We come from broken places. And God has to do the work and restoration in us. Much less, let alone the man. You have to let God do the work. And let me tell you, when you wait and you don't rush the process, there are two things that could possibly happen. You could either get to a certain place where you've taken your time, and the man is being revealed to you, and he's actually being revealed to you as he doesn't really want to be a husband. He don't want to be a king. He's fine with being a peasant. And therefore you would see it, and you would see his predatory ways, and then you'd be able to cut him off and let him go. Or you allow God and give him the time and allow him to work on him, because that potential is there. He just needs the time. And when he finally has the time where he's now able to step up and be who he needs to be, because instead of acting out of flesh, you operated in spirit, wisdom, and discernment. You operated as a true queen. Now he can be the man that you need him to be, and possibly the husband that he will be to you. And not only that, but you don't disqualify yourself as his queen. Because let me tell you, in the subconscious of a man, I've talked to men about this. In the subconscious of a man, they'll already disqualify you in their mind as a queen when you rush into things sexually too soon. They'll take it. They'll entertain it. But they will disqualify you as a queen. And so you'll waste all that time thinking you showing him, I can be the wife, by giving him all the wifely privileges without him actually earning it. And they've already disqualified you as a wife in their mind. Ladies, let's not disqualify ourselves. We are wasting time. When that man comes if you know you are a good woman, when that man comes into your life, you already know why you're in his, because you're like, okay, I see the positive influence that I have on his life. But the real question is, you need to decide and confirm and validate within yourself what place he's going to hold in your life. Minister to a project, but marry an equal. And you have to remember that. You have to in this process. I believe that we do serve as the catalyst for men to change. But we have to present ourselves worthy of the call. You have to ask yourself, are you in a place? There are 3 places you can possibly be in. You can be, as far as your journey, your own personal journey. And whether you're prepared to date, whether you're prepared to go out there and be fishers of men. There's 3 places. You could either be in the place of a concubine. She is not ready. She gives her body to the whims and sexual immaturities of men. You can either be a princess. She's coming into an understanding of herself, but there's still some restoration that needs to take place. There's still some healing and some work that needs to be done in her, but she's on her way. Or you are operating in a place of queen, where she has now come to a place of wholeness, that she is now ready to go out and test and approve kings. When we go back to the story of the Queen of Sheba, she was already operating in her position as queen. And so when she came to Solomon, she heard about his potential, and she said, let me go find out this potential for myself. Let me test and prove his kingship through my position as a queen. And when she came, she tested him and proved him to be a king. But that's because she was at a place in her life where she had the wisdom, the spirit, and the discernment to be able to be the conduit that God could use her to test and prove Solomon's kingship. She had to be at a certain place in her life. So maybe you're at a place right now where you're still operating as a concubine. Yes, there is a queen in you. Yes, God has more for you. But you do not need to be in any relationship with any man until you get that healing and that restoration that you need. Maybe you are in the position of a princess, that you're on your way, but there still needs to be some work done. There still needs to be a strength and a discernment and a wisdom and a self-control that God needs to build into you, that you're still not ready to go out there and approve kings, but you're well on your way. Or you could be operating as a queen, where you've already had that place of restoration. You've had that time of Esther training and preparation, and now you are ready to meet the king. But what we have to realize is the king sometimes is a diamond in the rough, and you have to be the conduit that God can use to buff the rubble off of the diamond, so that that diamond could be revealed, and not only that, but that diamond can shine. And that's where your husband will lie. That's where your king will lie. Y'all, I don't want to take up too much time, but I wanted you to hear that message because God spoke it very clearly to me. He said there are a lot of kings out here, but a lot of them are diamonds in the rough. And what I need from you is to understand where you are in your journey as a concubine, as a princess, or as a queen. And I need you to be at a place of queenship so that I can use you to test and approve kings, so that my power can work through you in order to manifest these kings to come forth, to manifest these husbands to step up and come forth. But I am waiting on you to be who you need as a queen in order to be able to do it. Will you submit to his will? Ladies, will you submit to his will? You are the only one that could hinder and disqualify yourself as queen. Y'all be blessed on today. I love you. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please don't hesitate to put them in the comment box below, or reach out to me at my email. And I pray that we get it. I pray that we understand. I will put R.C. Blake's video too of the 3 types of men in the description box below, because you really need to hear it. But God is waiting on us to step up and do what it takes. It's time to stop saying, well, what about the men? Well, what about you? Stop worrying about the man. And when you worry about yourself, he will bring the man that he needs to bring to you, so you can help and participate and cooperate with him to bring forth the king. Will you be that queen? Love you. Be blessed on today. Take care.